gonna do it this way today, old school iPhone vlogging. It's a beautiful day. Making the rounds on a mission for food. We might have found some gifts.
Can you see what's next? Possibilities, but for now, it's all.
So we just had lunch at the Peabody, and let's talk about how delicious that halloumi was. That's actually the reason I went in, was for halloumi. And then I almost didn't get it, but apparently it was just a certain version that wasn't available, which is weird, but it doesn't matter. It was so tasty. It was so good. I'm so happy. The food was really, really, really good. This might have been the best thing I've eaten since I've been here. We're gonna use the front-facing camera. That's not as good, but the light's so nice, I bet it'll be fine. We're out here. Look at this. Cool, but gorgeous. LA needs to get one of these. Please. It's warm in LA. This would be so much fun. I visited the Beatles Story exhibition, which was this really cool walkthrough experience that, just as the name suggests, tells the story of the Beatles. They tell the story using a large collection of fascinating original memorabilia, things like rare album sleeves, original handwritten lyrics, items owned by the Beatles, unreleased photos, studio equipment. And this is all put together with the help of props and dioramas, information cards, and a really great audio guide narrated by John Lennon's sister Julia Baird. Also, and possibly most important, they had original instruments owned by the band members. When I went in and saw that there were original instruments, I was immediately drawn because I just started my series The Flourish, which is an interview series speaking to musicians about their instruments. So you can imagine how excited I was to see George Harrison's first guitar, and beside it, the story of his first guitar. You may have to pause to read, and it did cut off a little bit in this photo, but you can still read the story and get exactly what happened. It's really cool. And then right across from that was one of Paul's first guitars. It was somewhat overwhelming to be in the presence of these instruments that journeyed with such legendary musicians and are such a huge part of music history. Overall, I was really impressed with the entire exhibit. It was done so well, telling the story from the very beginnings when the members were just discovering music and instruments, to the conception of the Beatles, their first gigs, being discovered, and taking us all the way through to the height of their career and eventual breakup and subsequent solo careers. I really enjoyed how they immersed me in the story, like this section here, where they built a replica of the inside of the Cavern Club, including a stage set up for the Beatles to perform on. The Cavern Club still actually exists, and you can go visit it, but technically it's not the real Cavern Club. But despite that fact, I am still very honored that I got to visit the club and perform on stage. I'm so thrilled. I got to sing, I got to play drums, and I did get video footage, so you guys can check that out at the end of this vlog. And when you have a minute, go ahead and Google the Cavern Club. The history of that place is pretty cool. It was torn down, rebuilt, moved. It's pretty fun. Check it out. As well as instruments, I really do love seeing original charts and notes and lyrics and scribbles for the work in progress known as songwriting. This was super interesting to come across, all this different paraphernalia that had Beatles faces on it. I mean, stockings and masks and pens and bobbleheads. It was crazy. I didn't realize how many things had Beatles faces on them. This is a Mellotron Mark II. There's a little bit of information about how the Beatles used it. It's very cool. I suggest you Google it. It's a really neat instrument how it works. It uses pre-recorded sounds on tapes, and hitting a key triggers the tape to play. It's very cool. The design and props that they used in addition to the authentic items were very well put together. It made the whole thing come to life, and it was so much more interesting than just walking around and looking at stuff through glass. Here was one of my favorites. We were walking in the yellow submarine. You can actually play with those little dials and kind of turn them and click them like Disneyland. And those are real fish. I went up close to check. They are real. The aquarium is real. I thought that was a nice touch. Here's one of those authentic items. These are Ringo Starr's drumsticks that he signed as part of a promotion with Gartland in 1997, signed with a purple pen. According to the plaque that was next to it, he said while he was signing, "When you've got something heavy to do, put on a purple shirt or purple shoes." I think that's pretty cute. I might have to go find myself a purple shirt for those kind of activities now.
Look at me. Can you see what's next? Possibilities. But for now, it's all about you and me. Possibilities. It's a perfect day. Why don't you stay? We don't have to change, at least not today. La 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 hand in hand.
We just checked out the Beatles Story, and I was blown away because I got to see all the instruments. Not all the instruments, but many instruments owned by the Beatles, including George's first guitar. So it was really exciting. So yeah, very much the Flourish stuff right there, guys. That's what it's about, the feeling that you get when you see those instruments. The story of how he got it was there, and it just was so exciting to see. Anyway, we're back outside now. I'm pulling what I like to call an iPhondo, and I timed myself so that I could go and get a sunset photo. This is a very iPhondo move right now. It's beautiful out, so I think it'll be a nice sunset. Take me home, Hollywood cars! Take me home! It's easy if you try. This would be where I would choose to skate too. In true iPhondo fashion, we're waiting patiently and just taking photos of the surroundings because this is beautiful, beautiful light. That's what they call the golden hour. There's a reason. Little ant friend, hello little ant friend. Ant friend, are you here for the golden hour? It's a beautiful sunset. Cool.
It's a perfect day. Why don't you stay? We don't have to change, at least not today.
I was in Liverpool for 10 days, which is a decent amount of time, but I was actually working for the majority of it, so I didn't get a whole lot of vlogging in otherwise. But don't get me wrong, I had so much fun. It was a blast working the event, which was a huge success. We raised funds for a really great organization known as the Clare House. I put a link in the description below so you can learn more about that. And everyone I worked with was so kind, so warm and welcoming. I'm really looking forward to getting to work with these people again. We touched a lot of lives while we were there, and it was just an unforgettable experience overall. I put a couple highlights here for you all to enjoy, including the performance at the Cavern Club, which was a great experience for so many reasons, and not the least of which is that I got to perform drums live for the first time with only 5 lessons. I think I did a pretty good job. What do you think?
Could you be loved? And someone's watching you. Could you be loved? Oh, yeah. And be loved. Oh, don't let that fool you. Oh, don't let love me too. You know, hallelujah, my sweet Lord. Love is all you need. Love is all you may say.